Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with another Wednesday episode sponsored by our awesome sponsors, Gray Fox Games.
Whoa. I saw they had the Reavers production.
I saw those too, yeah.
They're going to have it at Dice Tower Con? Is that the next one that's up?
Yes, it is. That is next week. Or this week.
Yeah.
This weekend, maybe, I think.
But we'll see it at Gen Con.
Yes, we will.
Whole shit ton of fucking dice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's episode 150, guys.
It is.
That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
Especially because that doesn't even include in the numbering all of the review episodes we've done.
Or
and discussions or basically anything we've ever put on a Friday is not included in that 150
or a Thursday
number.
or a Saturday or a Monday.
It's our 150th official week of
Even though that's not 100% true because we
haven't done 150 straight.
No.
We do take breaks.
Well, and there have been weeks where we just haven't had a Wednesday episode, and so we didn't number those weeks
Exactly.
Did we have we had weeks where there's been Friday episodes and not Wednesday episodes?
Well, no, Gen Con last year was just bum, bum, bum.
Or sometimes when we do the Dread episodes, like they're the Wednesday and Friday, and neither of those count towards that number.
Except this previous one where I did that, so...
Whoops.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
So we've had more than 150?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've definitely had more than 150.
Yeah.
We've had more than 150 episodes.
That is true.
Yes.
Generally,
which we can tell anytime someone downloads our backlog, our download count for the day we see a nice bump.
Yeah. Just don't do that. Just listen to the new stuff. You don't want to...
I mean, download it. You don't have to listen to the old stuff.
Yeah.
Well, listen to the new stuff first, so you're like, oh, there's some quality here. And then be like, I wonder what they like when in the beginning. And then you go back and listen to the old stuff and you go, wow, I'm glad I started listening now.
Like Doctor Who.
It's like
super hard to watch. I can't watch any of the older stuff.
It's like putting a
I don't think
frog-
I've watched anything before the new Christopher Eccleston.
New Who, yeah.
I have watched no Doctor Who ever. All of my Doctor Who knowledge has been absorbed through pop culture osmosis.
I was originally not, and then a significant other was watching it, and then I just started watching it through sitting on a couch next to a person watching it, and then I started watching it.
Yeah. I didn't watch the newest season, though.
I haven't watched the last 3 years.
Oh, gotcha.
Like that. Yeah.
My knowledge of Doctor Who consists mainly of Daleks are a thing, that there are really awkward, shitty robots.
Say that again?
Daleks.
Okay.
Daleks.
Daleks.
Yeah.
Daleks.
Dalek.
You said Dalek the first time, so yeah.
Whatever.
Dalek.
I know. Just want to make sure that's what you said.
I don't know. It's British.
There's a blue phone box that flies through time.
Yep.
Timey-wimey,
Just time?
wobbly space stuff. Space and time.
There you go.
Yeah.
Time and
Because it's
space.
timey-wimey.
Jesus Christ.
There's a something pencil or pen that's
Sonic screwdriver.
screwdriver. That's what
There
it
you
is.
go. Unless it's not a screwdriver.
Unless
It
it's not.
maybe glasses or whatever else they want it to be at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And David Tennant was apparently pretty good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is my knowledge of Doctor Who.
Matt Smith was pretty good at it.
Yes,
too.
he was.
Matt Smith is when they started putting real money into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Or I think the budget didn't actually even change that much. It's just one, it got put in HD, and then
okay.
and then two, they just decided to put more effort in how it looked.
Yeah.
So
It looked pretty mid-range sci-fi for those first 4 seasons.
yes,
And then
4 seasons and a
bunch of specials
Bunch
or
of
something
specials,
because David Tennant was busy doing the fancy theater and not able to do the Doctor.
Yeah. Sure. Anyway, enough Doctor Who.
But he was good in Jessica Jones.
He was a real
Yes, he was.
That was my first major experience with David Tennant.
I'm sure you've seen a Harry Potter movie with him in it before.
Yes, but I didn't realize that was him.
I didn't either because I had seen that long before I'd ever watched Doctor Who.
Yeah. And same, like I've never watched Doctor Who, and that was way before Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was where I was like, holy shit, who is this guy? David Tennant. Oh, he's really good. And then I think somebody was like, yeah, he's really good in Doctor Who. And so I assume he's really good in Doctor Who.
yes.
But anyway, enough of that shit. So how's everybody's week been?
It's been good. I've been continuing to use my Alamo season pass.
God, I want one so
You're going to run
bad.
them out of business.
I'm fine. No, I
No, because they're raising their rates for the rest of us to accommodate for Zach.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So I saw Child's Play, which was better than I expected because both Paul and I had very, very low expectations for it.
As did literally everyone.
Yes, pretty much I looked up a discussion thread afterwards, and I was just like, I thought it was going to be shit, but it actually wasn't that bad. It did a lot more with the concept of like an AI doll.
That went rogue rather than
Yes.
like demon possession
Yes.
or whatever.
Voodoo.
Murderer
Yeah,
in the
possession.
original.
a voodoo ritual.
There was like a voodoo doll
Yeah.
kind of thing going on.
I didn't know it was even a thing until like mere weeks before. Like, if even that, it might have been like a week before it came out. I heard that it was a thing, and I was like, wait, what the shit? And then you guys went and saw it and said, like, oh, it was better than we expected. And then I went to the movies with Megan. I don't remember what movie we saw. It was like this week, too.
Uh-huh.
But then I saw an actual trailer for it, and I was like, this is weird.
Well, one, that doll is god ugly. It is horrible looking.
Yeah,
And
real bad.
The puppetry on it isn't great, and the CGI they use to animate the face more is bad. It's just
Uncanny
bad.
Valley City.
It's a doll.
It's
It's just bad.
yeah.
Oh.
The way you'd be like, that's CGI and that's bad CGI.
I've heard one of the biggest criticisms of this is like, why is it a Child's Play movie? It probably could have been called anything else and actually not had any
It
expectations.
is a Child's Play movie because MGM has the license for Child's Play and not the license to all the other ones.
That's true.
So they're like,
They have rights to the first one, right?
the first one,
Yes.
and they couldn't do any kills that were reminiscent of any future kills in the
They
after
couldn't
one.
homage
Yeah.
anything.
And then the people who made it who made the original, all of them weren't involved.
No.
Even though
'Cause I
they
guess it's
asked to
been
be, but they there's some like Chucky TV show that's gonna be going on, and then that is different. That's through Universal.
It's apparently been the same writer of
Yes.
all of them
yeah.
except this one.
Yes.
He's got his
None
own-
of this is explaining to me why this is Chucky or Child's Play or any of that.
I already told you because MGM had rights to Child's Play.
Yeah.
That's why it is.
I'm sure they had to make a movie or something, or they would lose the rights. Or something.
That's what they did with Fantastic Four.
Oh,
The worst one that no one
Silver Surfer one?
the
old '90s
the
one.
90s one. They made it
Yeah.
solely to keep the rights.
Yep, and I think they ended up losing them in the future, anyways.
Yeah, but like they couldn't even call them good guy dolls. They're buddies
Yep.
now. It's
good times.
But how the original one played with Satanic Panic, like
Mhm.
that's sort of what it was going on. This one was about AIs and how everybody's house is connected with
Smart devices.
and stuff. And if a doll just gets access to all of that and becomes evil, things that can happen with that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Right on. I saw Dead Don't Die, the Jim Jarmusch movie.
which you described as a movie.
Yes. I'm still really trying to process a lot of it. There's a lot I liked. I liked a lot of the like fourth wall breaking and some of the dry humor. Like I progressively laughed louder and louder and louder the more often. Man, why am I drawing a blank on
Tilda
his
Swinton.
name? No,
Bill Murray,
No.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
There it is.
Kylo Ren himself.
Yes.
Matt, the radar technician.
The more often he said, "This isn't going to end well," or "I keep saying this isn't going to end well." I know this isn't going to end well. Like it just got funnier and funnier and funnier for me for some reason.
Yeah, I've heard the movie is divisive. I've heard some people love the movie, and then other people like Paul was like, that was bad.
I think ultimately I settled on enjoy. Like I'm really glad I went and saw it, and I'm glad I saw it in theaters because parts of it were so like weirdly dry that if I was at home, I would have gotten distracted and not paid attention, and it wouldn't have been good. So I'm glad I saw it in theaters. There were some weird things that happened in it that I won't spoil. Where it's just like, wait, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? But
I'll probably see
good.
it later.
I was going through the list of everything Jim Jarmusch has ever done, and apparently I've never watched a Jim Jarmusch movie.
Yeah, no, he's a weird guy.
So
And his movies are weird too, from what I've heard.
yeah,
I also haven't seen any, but I also didn't. This one did. I watched the first trailer and I was like, oh, it seems like it could be good. But then every time I watched the trailer over and over again, I was just like, it just kept giving me more of
We
like.
did watch a lot of movies in the period that this movie was showing trailers.
Yes. And I got slightly less interested every time I saw it until it finally came out, and I was like, I'm not interested in seeing it. So
it definitely the trailer set me up for a different expectation of what the movie was ultimately ended up being.
that's what I've heard too.
But yeah,
At least it's Steve Buscemi's Proof of Life movie.
That's true.
yeah, Steve
He
Buscemi
is
is alive. He plays a super racist.
Okay. That's probably why he didn't have many lines in the trailer.
He's walking around almost the whole movie that with a red like MAGA hat, but it says "Make America White Again."
Ooh.
And his interactions with Danny Glover, super awkward.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I also saw yesterday,
Yes.
today even, but it was 2 days ago. If you're listening to it on Wednesday,
It's that movie where the Beatles don't exist after
Yes.
he goes to sleep one night.
no,
No,
he
after
gets hit by a bus.
Oh, okay.
Right when
I thought it was some
the
sort of
entire
big situation.
No.
He
It's,
put in a wish into
the entire world, like the power just turns off for 12 seconds, and during that time he gets hit by a bus.
Okay.
And
Then everyone forgets the Beatles exist.
yes, and it was actually pretty good. I liked it. It's a Danny Boyle movie.
Yeah.
So he did a good job directing it. It definitely went. It wasn't quite what I like. The plot wasn't quite what I was expecting, which was good. But I saw it at the new Westminster Alamo.
Yeah.
Which is nice. The chairs recline, which is great. Everybody has their own table, which is also great.
Smaller?
It's half. It's half of
Yeah,
the
and you would have
other.
to share it with someone else before anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Now it's half. They're all on the right side, but they're a little farther out than you would expect.
Okay.
You get used to it, but it was definitely both Paul when we sat down. We were like, that's farther away than I was expecting. Like when
And there's
we're
not like armrest cup holder things?
there is
Okay.
there is.
See, kind of like that the smaller table disappoints me because like Megan and I like to go and like to share food, and we like having the bigger table to put our shared food and both our drinks on, and then like lean close to each other. Whereas
I
now
mean, you can still lean close to each
but
other.
now it's a much smaller table, so it'll be a little bit more cramped,
It's-
and it's definitely on like one person's side of the chair.
Paul said you could probably still share certain, like a pizza or something. You could still have it on there, and like it's longer. I would say the table's a little bit longer or something like that. So it makes.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not as ideal. I get why some people will really love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, people who are dead inside just want everything by themselves.
Yes.
As thrilling as these table reviews
Uh-huh.
are.
Yes.
Continuing to move on.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a good theater.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And Westminster.
Yes.
My biggest problem with the premise of yesterday
Uh-huh.
is I don't think if the Beatles actually stopped existing, if everybody lost their memory of the Beatles, I don't think Beatles songs would be at all popular. And somebody started doing them now, people would be like, this is fucking stupid. Like I think a lot of Beatles enjoyment comes from the fact like they were products of their time, and like now they're like classics, and so people are like, oh, it's a classic. I don't think people would legitimately enjoy the Beatles if they heard them now.
I'm sure there's been people that have listened to the Beatles, not growing up with the Beatles, and enjoyed
Yeah, but
them
I'm sure
fresh.
they knew of the Beatles, and I have a hard time believing that did not influence their. I don't think there's been anybody who never even knew the Beatles
Adrian
existed.
just doesn't like the Beatles.
I
That's why
also
he's
do
just
not like the
shitting all
Beatles.
over
Yeah.
them right now.
Okay.
That's where this
They've got a
super biased opinion, Fox
Yes.
News-esque opinion is coming on.
Whoa, fair and balanced, sir.
Uh-huh.
Fair
Yeah,
and
exactly.
balanced.
Just like Fox News.
Yeah.
But I don't actually think their music would be popular if it was coming out right now. I could be wrong. I could be way wrong.
They've got some good, all-time good ones, but
There's a couple Beatles songs that are okay, but overall, the Beatles I do not care for.
So my first trip to the Westminster will be Thursday. Going to see Independence Day on the 4th of July.
Yes, we are.
In the big room, and it's free.
No, it's not the
No.
big room. It's the outdoor.
Is it the outdoor
It's
one?
the
Yeah.
that's why.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you have to like
Bring
you
your
can-
own chair or blanket or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, or you just sit on the ground, whatever. But you can bring your own food. Just don't you just can't bring your own alcoholic drinks. Apparently, that's
Gotcha.
about it. So,
Yeah.
but it's general admission basically. So I was like, because I walked in
That's
about
weird because they still make you buy
no. Well, I
seats.
asked him about. Well, you don't have to buy it, but yeah, I
mean,
asked him about
You still
it,
have to select seats.
and I think I was like, so. I saw like, how are you guys going to do that? And he's like, oh, it's just pretty much that. I have to double check, but it's just whatever. I think it's just you have a ticket to go there, and then you can go wherever. So.
Yeah.
I have 2 tickets. Megan and I are on the fence whether we're going to go watch Independence Day or whether we're going to go watch fireworks.
I mean, you'll be outside, so you can just see fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, not from ideal fireworks viewing positions.
Who knows?
Yeah, they have fireworks every year. You can't just watch Independence Day.
Every
I
Every
year.
literally watched Independence Day like 2 days ago.
Well, that's your fault.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Surprisingly held up. Anyway, moving on from movies to other things that happened this week. Megan's car got smacked.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was real not great. She went out kayaking and was coming back, and we were coordinating like making dinner, and then she had to go to work that night. And about the time I was expecting her to get home, she called me and she's like, I'm okay. I want you to know I'm okay. I'm okay. But I got in a car accident. Which, like, I appreciate that she led with she's okay rather than like I was in a car accident. Like, oh my God, are you okay? But the way she like super emphasized it made it even more like a, oh my God, what happened? Like, I thought things were going to be real fucked.
The car flipped 12 times.
Yeah.
And I got ejected, but I somehow landed on my feet completely stationary.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Turns out, as is the case with highways around here, it was going highway speeds, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. She was behind some dude in a big jacked up truck thing, like dually, big tires, fucking stupid truck that she couldn't see around, even though she was like not following very close. And he just, without braking or anything, just swerved into
The next lane?
into the express lane.
Oh.
And traffic, like as soon as he moved, she could see that traffic was already stopped.
Oh, yeah.
So she was able to stop because she had enough room following.
Yeah, but the person behind you
But then the person who just turned 18 in April behind her in her 2017 Nissan could not stop and smashed into the back of Megan. The girl who hit Megan, her car is totaled. Like in one of the pictures that Megan sent me, if you zoom in like off to the side, you can actually see her car still sitting in traffic, and it's crumpled so much you can't see the front windshield like at all.
Well, when I walked by your the car getting into your house, I was like, there's a bunch of black spots on this car. I bet that is oil.
Yeah, it was an oily radiator fluid mixture.
Yeah.
Because apparently that...
All the delicious fluids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Megan's car's...
It's pink for your health.
Whatever it did, I don't know if it if a wire got crimped and it shorted out or something about the accident. Like she had a bunch. She drove it home. It was drivable. There was no fluids leaking on Megan's car, even though she hit the car in front of the girl. Hit her hard enough that she went surprisingly far forward into the car ahead of her. But something like driving home, a bunch of lights were flashing on her dash and everything. And when we went to go take her kayak out today, a couple days later, her battery was completely dead. So I don't know if there's if something shorted to drain the battery or if
Dislodged.
there were weird lights or something flashing that were still flashing when it was off that drained the battery or what.
Oh.
But something drained the battery over the next 2 days. But we're currently sounds like the girl got a ticket. And so her insurance is and Megan didn't get a ticket. And so the police didn't think she had any fault or anything, that she didn't do anything wrong. So we're currently dealing with the other girl's insurance. Luckily, because it was a brand new car, she had full coverage. So, and Megan has full coverage on her Subaru. So it'll be fixed. It's just a matter of whether we're hoping that there's no major underlying frame damage that we can't see. And so she can maybe just get her car repaired and sent back to us. And not have to go through the whole we're just going to total it out for $20,000 and now you have to go get a new car.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
yeah, fun stuff. She was pretty shaken up. She's never really been in a car accident. And
Yeah, I've only been in one on Thanksgiving Day 20 years ago or something like that.
yeah,
I was teens, and it was icy, and my mom hit this huge black ice patch on a bridge and swerved and smashed into it like an oncoming car.
oh geez.
Yeah.
I've had several. I've been in a lot of little fender benders. The vast majority, not even my fault.
Yeah.
Some of them have been, but when I was in high school at one point, I was leaving work late, and I somehow just managed to pull straight out in front of somebody, pulling out of the gas station where I worked into somebody who was going 45 miles an hour down the side street, and they T-boned me they barely even had time to brake.
Yeah.
That one sucked, and then I rolled my 4Runner real hard on black ice, kind of similar thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, it rolled through 4 foot of Michigan snow, so the snow cushioned the roll, and the 4Runner came through it largely unscathed.
Yeah. You didn't kill a legendary bassist or anything?
No.
Okay.
I don't get that reference.
It's Cliff Burton.
Mm-hmm.
Was killed in a bus crash, rollover.
Metallica.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Right after Master of Puppets came out.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was that little bit of exciting personal news.
Woo.
Megan's car's all smashed up. The Subi is banged up.
The most exciting.
Yeah. So moving on to games. Let's get on to games. We've
Sure.
Steam sales going on. I played a lot of Stellaris onto board games.
How much Stellaris have you played?
I think I'm already 20 hours in.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been playing basically every bit of free time I've had since I picked it up at the start of the Steam sale has been going into Stellaris. I'm really enjoying it.
Have you hit any of the end game stuff?
No.
End game events?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think even close.
All right.
currently I found one collapsed civilization, which aren't actually collapsed. They're like super powerful still. They just can't expand anymore.
Yeah, like they're like fallen empires.
Fallen empires.
Yeah.
And then I found
But
one.
they're super strong.
Yes. And I found one other race that's super. They're one of their traits is
Xenophobia.
Yeah, xenophobia, and I'm xenophile. So like my people are like, sweet new aliens, let's be friends, and they're like,
no,
fuck you, closed borders, rivals, claiming all of your border territories, and it's like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Nope, fuck you.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in that game.
I won't talk about it too much right here. It's gonna be a long week of episodes anyway, so we'll keep the Stellaris talk short. On to actual board games, because I played a lot of actual board games too. So Tuesday, right after we had recorded the El Dorado episode, the next day we had two friends, Shion and her boyfriend Sean, came over and we played 4-player El Dorado.
Nice.
And it was really good. I still liked 4-player El Dorado. I won very narrowly, and I did it with I only bought, 2, maybe 3 cards the whole game. I did it with a very thin deck on a medium map. So I don't think you could do that. I don't think it'd be a valid strategy on a hard map, but on a medium map, it worked fine having a very small deck. And then I had like one of the heroes and basically used that to get through the couple like hard spots. And then I super abused the Zach go to all of the cursed spots and just hope for the best. And it worked out.
I wasn't there to suck that luck from you.
No, correct. But yeah, it was good. Everybody liked it. And so it joins the very short list of games that I've played after we reviewed them. Then Wednesday we had game night, and I played a game called, I think, Agents, that Blaze brought. And it's like an interesting game where there's safe houses between you and every other player that you play with, and you're playing cards there, and you choose to which way you want to face it when you play it. And so like one side of the card is worth points and the other has an action. And so you can either take the points and give the action to the person next to you, or you can do the action and give them the points. And then there's some cards that don't play into the bases that you just choose somebody else, but they're still double-sided like that, where like one end of the card is points and one's an action. And you choose like, hey, Jeff, you're across the table from me. You can take the points and I'm going to do this action. And you play till you get 40 points, which as you start to play and you're like, I get 2 points this round. You're like, fuck, this is going to take forever. And then it takes just under forever because eventually you do get to where you get a lot of points, but you have to like turn in points to get more cards and things that seem like it kind of awkwardly drag out the game a little bit. It was okay. We played with 5, which was way too many. I think I would much rather play it with like 3 or 4. Like 3 would be all right because then you're interacting with everybody else you're playing with. 4 would be okay because you do have those cards you can pick somebody else, and so you could just pick the person straight across from you and still have plenty of interaction with everybody at the table. But yeah, it was okay.
I think I'm just going to start playing games with less people.
Yes.
In general.
It's not a bad plan. Then on Friday, Zach and I went and met up with John, fan of the show, active over in Slack. He was in town. He was actually at Wednesday game night, but I didn't get to play anything with him. We met up with him over at Paul's house.
We played with him at Gen Con last year.
We played Terraforming Mars. Yeah.
Terraforming Mars with Venus, and I think Prelude was out.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff.
So he was in Denver on a work trip. So he came to game night, and then Friday was his last night in town. And so we all went and met up at Paul's house, and we played Pipeline because he'd played Pipeline before. And so he kind of helped teach us. We started way, way later than we intended because that was the night Megan got in her car accident. So that, I ended up, by the time she got home, she was already late to work and she didn't have a vehicle. So I had to take her to work. And then Paul and John were like, well, I guess if you're going to be late, we're going to go get pizza. And so then I still ended up beating them back to Paul's house. And then we had to open and unpunch Paul's game because, of course, we did.
As is the Paul tradition.
John said he punched like 2 or 3 of Paul's games this weekend while he was in town.
2, yeah.
2. And then we had to go through the rules and learn it and set it up and everything.
Well, and Pipeline has a lot of stuff to unpunch.
A lot of components to unpunch and sort and play and get like the setup. It takes a little while. And then when I started the rules explanation, Paul and Zach were in full-on give Adrian just constant amounts of shit mode.
Well, there's somebody new, so we had to show off.
So the rules explanation probably took twice as long as I think it should have. And so we finally started at 9:00 at night. And I was like, oh God, I
this
got to
nice
be
light, like 2-3 hour.
I got to be at work at 6 a.m. This is gonna not be awesome. Ended up being about 2 hours. I think we finished up a little after 11. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Kind of a cool spatial puzzle element. There were definitely multiple points through it where we realized something about it, where it was like, oh shit, that changes things. Like realizing that the government markets in the center of the board don't ever refill. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, I want to try and get tiles out of there while they're there. Or like keeping in mind that like to run your machine at the end of your turn, if you wanted to use machinery to pump oil, costs 15 money. So you need to have 15 money to pump oil, which is a lot of money in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like money's really tight. So what do you think, Zach?
I wasn't that big a fan, but there are definitely some interesting things, but definitely like you were saying, we were realizing a couple things, or we were realizing a lot of things throughout the game. And after like two turns, I was like, oh, how I set up my pipes was completely stupid and is really going to hamper my ability to do anything, which was true.
Yes.
And then basically about halfway through the second year, I was like, okay, how I've set up, I can't do anything. I can't.
You don't have a very viable path forward.
No, I don't have a viable path forward. So it was like, okay, well, these goals off to the side, I'm just gonna. I want to get a level 3 pipe and 2 level 2s and have a machine on one of them, and that was my entire plan for the entire thing. And I did that, but I was like, but I know I'm gonna get last, which I did. For me, it was a little bit. It was a little bit too much multiplayer solitaire. For me, I know, like, there was definitely a decent, like, there was some indirect blocking.
Yeah, it's mostly like, oh,
I got this before you did.
Yeah, I took the pipe tile that you wanted.
Yeah.
Especially, like, in one of them where, like, I wanted everything on it except for one tiny little corner piece, and that was the corner piece you wanted. And it's like, you're ignoring so much of that pipe.
Yeah, what? I told you guys that was, like, literally out of the 60 pipes that are out available, there is only one that can actually fit in this. I needed a left turn. Everything else was either straight or right turn for that color of pipe. And I was like, well, I had played it risky looking for that. And then in the second year, Paul choosing one of the government markets that wasn't that, meaning that I couldn't get access to the one that I needed until next year. And that's why I was like, well, I can't do what I wanted to do until it's far too late. So I'm screwed now.
Yeah. I think now that it's punched and organized, and now that we know how to play, it would play so much faster.
You're not wrong.
Which I think is really a point in its favor.
Yeah, definitely knowing what we know, we would build it different. We'd build our pipe system differently, and I think it wouldn't take nearly as long.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I would definitely give it another chance. But for me, it hit enough of the feelings I get from Brass that I think like I enjoyed Brass more than that. So I know for you, I'm sure you're just like in the back of your mind, like there's two completely different games.
Yep. I was just gonna say, like, for me, those are very different.
No,
games.
And that's fine. But it's like, for me, it's like I'm technically route building, trying to deliver things, and with contracts, and so
I see that similarity.
Yes. I didn't like I don't know how they would do it otherwise, but it has. Like for choosing your worker placement spot, there's no blocking.
Yeah.
I don't see how the game would work if you did that.
Yeah, I'd be way too constrained at that point.
But it's at that point for me, it just becomes who can do the puzzle better, and that's not as interesting to me.
Yeah. See, like one of the things I liked the most about it, and that has me eager to play it again, is I love spatial puzzles, and that game is a huge spatial puzzle. It is,
but I thought we were somehow all building our own, like we were all building like our own pipelines in between each other and stuff like that. And so once I realized I was bringing it on and building it on my own little thing, I was like, oh, I'm not as interested now. But for me, the amount of games I like in that sphere are very small.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, they're very wide, so you can appreciate the differences. And then, whereas for me, it's like, it's like 60% what I get from Brass, I'd rather play Brass. Whereas I'm sure there's a lot of like thematic R-style games that you're just like, there's like one or two I like, and if they aren't better than that, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. You're like somebody who, like, if heavy games are red wine, you're like, I like that red wine more than that red wine. And somebody who really is into red wine is like, but that's a Cab and that's a Merlot. They're so different.
Yeah.
And you're just like, nah, they're both red wines.
Yeah.
I like that one more.
Yeah.
Which is fair, because that's how I am with like white wines or thematic games.
Yes. It
At
did.
least you kept the wine cynicism.
I will
in
tell.
there.
It didn't go off. It didn't start off great when, like, one of the first questions we asked you, you're like, all right, there's 3 different types. There's 3 different oils in different colors. And you're like, all right, why are they? What is that? And they're like, they're different because they're different. No thematic reason otherwise. And I was like,
oh, that to be fair, that hurt me too. Or like, like somehow just pumping your oil through a longer pipe makes it better.
yeah.
If anyone's played Factorio, there's at least 3 different things that can come out of your oil.
No, but it was 3 different types of crude oil that they're just like, here's an orange one, here's a
silver and a teal.
And we're like, okay, well, they're different because they're different. Cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'd give another shot knowing how to play it, but it wouldn't. I don't know how much I'd give it past that. So
cool. And then the last thing I played on Sunday, we got invited over to some kayaker friends of Megan's who are kind of vaguely into board games. They invited us to their new house, and we played a 5-player game of the airplane game that I'm drawing a blank on the name of.
Now boarding.
Yes, that we reviewed fairly recently. And it was still really good, and we won, and it was nice. Everybody liked it. It's
Now boarding is a real good game.
Yep. So that concludes what I've been playing. Zach, how about you?
Well, on that Wednesday, I tried. He said John was there. Paul had brought out his Dice Forge with the expansion Rebellion,
which I've had for quite some time and still yet to play.
Yes. But so we played with the Labyrinth.
Because it's like Titans and Labyrinth.
Yeah, there's 2 different modules, and you are choosing one of them to play. It was interesting. It had this. Instead of starting with a moon on one of your dice, you start with this thing that moves your golem. That's what it was. Your golem in the labyrinth, and when you move it around,
it's an extra board.
Yeah, it's an extra board, which actually slides in between the main board and then the box, because you play with both.
Yeah.
But the expansion box slides in there, and then it has the board on top, which has the labyrinth, and you can move around. And when you move in various spots, you get things. And one of the things you can get is a celestial die, which is you roll, and it has you can get like 5 points or 12 money, or buy something at a reduced cost, or stuff like that. So we had entirely new heroic feat cards, because there are 4 that are specific to
each expansion.
Yeah. Well, not just that too, but it's like 4 that you always use.
Oh.
And then 7 more, or however many it is, that you have a lot that you can choose from. And so the ones that we had, there's actually more take that in this now, because there are certain cards that you can buy.
Before it was just like, roll your dice, lose those dice that you rolled in resources.
Yeah. Well, this one is you can choose here, and it's just everybody loses 2 points, and you get 2 points for however many were lost, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or people lose gems or money and stuff things like that. And so
more
interactivity, which Paul got fucked over each time. There was one that was always whoever had the least amount of money loses points, and he always had the least amount of money whenever someone bought those cards.
Awesome.
So yeah. But it played like Dice Forge, just with some new things.
Yeah.
So it was, I think it was good. And then after that, some people, V and Mike Jones and some other people gave me a very belated birthday gift.
Mm-hmm.
Still not as late as Jeff's belated Christmas gift.
I mean, I pitched in for the new
That's true.
Cribbage board.
Jeff and I were in on the Cribbage board.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying the Christmas gift
It was a birthmas gift. It was birthday last year and Christmas.
Okay. But it was a very nice cribbage board that can have 4 players on it.
Yeah, it came out way better than I was expecting. Yeah. I'm really happy with it.
No, it looked really cool. And it had two slots that were magnetically closed. You could open up to put cards in there, and then it had the slot for the pins, which were a very nice heavy metal. So we played that, but I've lost twice while playing it, so I'm not sure how I feel about the cribbage board anymore.
It's not quite as transportable. It's big.
No, it's
fairly big.
Yes, but it's like for game night, it works.
It's nice.
Yeah, it fits in all the bags. Like they always a little bit of space on the side that'll easily slide in for that.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate that. And then after that, what did I do? Safranito. Thank you. We ended up playing a game of Safranito, which turns out John and Wes are not great at throwing discs to collect spices.
That's a very specific thing not to be good at.
Yeah.
I think
also
they'll be
really not good at that.
Yeah.
I think they'll be okay with their life from here on out.
Yeah, it's not a debilitating weakness or anything like that. But that one, I hadn't played that one in a while. It's still fun, but it's definitely some people just aren't as good at throwing discs and having them land where you want. And also, you can be very dickish in that game, especially if you have the hammer, which is the last disc that you throw.
Because it's not worth anything, right?
No, it is, but you're just the last person throwing, so you could be like, I could go for something, or I could be like, you know what,
You're not getting
that.
Yeah.
And occasionally someone would throw it to try and do that and miss, and it's you'd laugh at them, but.
Yeah.
So that one ended up going well. I still enjoy that game. And I think that was it besides Pipeline and then something that we will discuss later.
Yes. What could it be?
I don't even know.
Oh.
All right, Jeff, what about you? What did you play?
I played Lock the Keys in the Car, which was great. And that's why I didn't play really anything at game night except a round of just one.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of the word porcelain. And I knew there was a word that I was forgetting that's like ceramic that I couldn't remember. And then that was, of course, the word that I had gotten.
Of course.
Porcelain.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought we had such a because we were playing like 8 people.
Yeah, so there was one person that was just the clue giver, and then there were 7 boards out there.
Oh, wow.
And so, Jeff, we got 7 different clues related to porcelain that didn't a single one of them flip. So you had 7 clues, like white, toilets, china,
bathroom,
doll, creepy. It's like, dude, come on.
And I just couldn't think of the word porcelain. I guess it's not a word I had thought of in quite some time. I always think of toilets made of ceramic, not porcelain.
Gotcha.
So that's the word that kept coming to my brain, but ceramic was out there, and I was just like, oh.
It's probably not that.
Yeah.
Or it is, and they're just very bad at this game.
Yeah. But the big game that I played to make up for it was Batman Gotham City Chronicles. So Greg and Kyle are a pair of brothers that have been coming to game night for
many
years.
Who I thought for a long time were twins and really embarrassed myself one time when somebody was like, hey, it's Greg's birthday. And I was like, oh, hey, Greg, happy birthday. And, oh, hey, Kyle. And then Kyle walked out. I was like, hey, Kyle, happy birthday. And he's like, it's not my birthday. And I was like, oh, this is awkward.
They're very similar in age, but
yes. And appearance.
And appearance, yeah.
They're definitely brothers.
Yes, they are definitely brothers.
Can't believe you've done this.
Yeah. Greg also has done painting for our Kingdom Death Gorm and assembled the whole thing for Paul, and it looks phenomenal. Greg's also a phenomenal painter, and he has painted all. I think Kyle's the one that got it, or they went in on it, whatever. But Greg has painted like everything in this set. And if you've ever seen Batman Gotham City Chronicles, there is a absolute fuckload of miniatures.
So many.
And they're all really well detailed, and he has all the shit from the base set done for the vast majority. Like all the heroes, which there are an insane amount. We played 2 different scenarios. One was like a bank robbery. All the scenarios are very loose. There's not a campaign for it yet. I guess the campaign is getting released later for free. And it was pretty fun. Bank robbery it was like Deathstroke getting like kryptonite out of a Metropolis bank or something. And we went in with Nightwing and the Huntress and just bashed in a bunch of people. They all have like various objectives, like activates 3 of the 4 vault terminals and have at least 2 of them active by the end of the 6 rounds. So we had to destroy 3 terminals is basically what our objective was. And his was to guard the 4 of them and keep them active. Never, ever, ever, ever play this game without watching a video or clearly printing out all of the ancillary fan-made files and stuff for this game, because all your hero sheet is a bunch of iconography with a rulebook that is god-awful. I don't think I've seen a worse worded rulebook in my life.
That's what I've heard, yeah.
I threw some pictures of the rulebook in our Slack, and it just references to like the possessor, and then does this action, and then the possessor gets one extra die roll when the villain does blah, 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 blah. And it's like a whole huge paragraph. And all it is if someone hits you, you can roll a yellow die and hit him back. And then like the alt fans have made a ton of stuff that makes everything so much easier. But God, is that rule book bad. And it's massive. It's like almost 100 pages because it's literally everything. And if you ever have to reference something, you have to close your scenario down to go look at the back of the book and then go back to the scenario. And then the board is a little confusing, but it has really nice dots for line of sight. So you never have to be like, oh, is this connected to this or that? If they actually put on the board like a dot with an A, that dot with an A can see anything else with a dot and an A.
Gotcha.
So you're never like, oh, can you see this or not? No. Does it have the A? No. All right. You can't see there. It also has like a weird verticality to it. There's a lot of like different like level 1, level 2, level 3.
Like jumping on things.
Like jumping up and like parkour and stuff like that. But it's just a board. So the way that they have to actually label all those is pretty cool. Except to be able to see exactly how all this verticality works, there's another rule book that has all of the different levels like planned out to be like, this is a level 3. This level 3 is you can jump down here. You know where you can jump down over here. And then that's displayed on the board as like a little like jump sort of like arrow arc thing.
Ridiculous.
It is so much easier to learn this game from someone that has already played it. But it's just kind of like a dice chucker at that point. So you get like a free die, but it has a really cool, like your health points are your actions. When you spend one of those cubes, there's 6 different spots. It's attack, manipulate, extra movement, rolling defense die, hacking, stuff like that. When you want to do a melee attack, you take one of your life, you put it into the attack thing, and then you can roll your die. You can put multiple things in there to roll to attack multiple times, and then everyone has like a maximum.
Gotcha.
And then at the end of your round, you just take all of those health that you used and put them in your fatigue area. There's like a rested, a fatigue, and then a like wound area. If you ever take damage, your ones from fatigue go into your wound. And then at the beginning of your round, you get like 2 back or 3 back, or you can do a long rest and get 5 back, but then you don't do anything on your turn. And then it's just various objectives. Like our second one was Raz Al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul or however you want to call him. And the rat catcher, which is someone I never heard of before, but apparently is a thing. And it was like they were trying to release all these rats, and we had to that were like diseased. And we had to bash one of the villains and get like a sample, and then smash all the rats until at the end of the round or end of the game there was like less than 2 rats on the board. They were neat. There's a ton of different scenarios. Greg has everything amazingly painted, which certainly helps with the enjoyment of the game. But fuck bad rulebook. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And they went all in on that original Kickstarter. So they have all the Arkham stuff, all the Wayne Manor stuff that unlocks like Alfred as a playable hero character. There's a lot of like detective characters you can play as. You're not all just superheroes. You can play with like detectives, but they come in with like a squad of police. So you have your own kind of like units on the board that you're controlling against theirs. And then there's not really any meta humans. It's all just your usual Batman street crew, but then there's like Clayface and not Lizard Man. That's Spider-Man.
Yeah, it is.
Killer Croc. Greg painted up one of the Killer Crocs to look exactly like the lizard from Spider-Man, because he has like this he has this jacket and pants. So purple pants, white jacket.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, and it's super cool. But it was a fun, minis game on a board.
Right on.
And when they're painted real nice, it's fun to play with.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think you guys have like 4 hours of Kingdom Death to talk about, because you played for 9 hours and That seems to be the time ratio of talking to playing.
It's not too far off. Yeah.
So did it end in disaster? Right out the gate. How
No.
fucked are you?
No. I'll just say we've begun to realize why some people were like, hey, maybe don't play People of the Stars with a lot of expansions because you can get pretty OP in the game.
Yeah, because you're already getting... So People of Stars, you were all trying to get these constellation things, and we got an item that lets you just take like fighting arts from specifically the Dragon King's list without having to roll or anything like that. So that gave people a lot of really good... Like, one of them is just like, ignore your first severe injury
Yeah.
per year, which is really, 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 really good.
Yes, it is.
Because that's the main way people die.
Yeah.
But we had, let's see, we went from year 3.
Mm-hmm.
We started at year 4 and we finished year 9.
Yes, that sounds about right.
So we started with the Tyrant level 1. The second time we fought Tyrant level 1, we pretty much trounced him.
Yeah.
Then,
Which got us more dragon vestments, which are the things that you were just talking about.
yeah,
But we weren't sure, because there's only 2 cards, but the game says, unless it says unique, it's not...
it's not resource limited to
Yes.
how many cards are in the game, because the game is 4 players and it only comes with 3 copies of each
which is
piece of armor.
is still annoying, but yeah.
Yes, it is. But then, let's make this game have 30% more cards.
Also true.
Seriously.
Also true.
But it would be nice to have that extra set for everything,
Yeah.
especially early on.
Yes.
I guess it doesn't really matter after early.
Yeah.
So we did the Tyrant, and then we got the Drag investments for pretty much everyone, which adds an extra armor to everyone's slot.
And then Paul was able to get the iridescent hide secret fighting or ability,
Yep.
which is like the one that I had, where it's like for every different affinity you have, you get just one hit or one armor for every location. So
Yeah.
with different, 3 different affinities, because the red, the green, and the blue, and then also the drag investments, that's a straight 4 armor to everything before you even count armor that you have.
Yeah.
So
at year 4, well, yeah, like you're in the middle of all of this, we already had like crazy high armor survivors.
yes. So after that, we ended up going for the antelope.
Well,
Right?
no, after that,
Was it the?
it was the here's a shit ton of different story events.
That's true, because we have so many different expansions that we added.
Yep.
That it's just like, oh, here's the introduction of the Manhunter and the Lion Knight and the Flower Knight,
and the Dragon King.
the Dragon King, and yeah.
So we did like the Dragon King, which lets us like hunt the giant dragon thing.
Mm-hmm.
The Flower Knight, and then the Manhunter. The Manhunter is kind of like the Butcher / Slenderman. It sort of happens weirdly, or not the Butcher, but the Slenderman, where it happens like weirdly in the middle of your settlement phase.
Yeah.
So we actually had to fight him immediately after coming back from this other Tyrant fight.
Yeah.
And he is a real fucker. He's sort of like a bounty hunter kind of guy, but he's got like weird stuff that you don't see other in the campaign. He's got like guns and stuff, which I have not seen anything like that so far.
Yes.
He's also got weird like spike. He's also like a vampire hunter.
Yeah.
He's like a witch hunter sort of
Yes.
character. He has various traps that he has set up.
Oh God, that's right.
Yeah, it's real gruesome. Andrew, stop listening now if you didn't already.
He doesn't listen to
Yeah,
this.
because this one's real bad.
So I was like one of the first people to attack him, and one of his cards was a trap. I activated his trap card.
Yes. It is not his trap,
No.
his actual trap.
No,
but
not his trap. He had a spike trap on the ground.
a pit.
A pit, basically.
Yeah.
And I could have spent my entire survival to avoid it, and then I would have just gotten knocked down.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, you could roll on this chart instead to see how you do.
See what happens.
And you didn't die, right?
Yeah, like 1 or 2 isn't death, which that's normally what it is.
Yeah.
But you do take 3 severe injury rolls to the chest, which means you have been pierced through the chest by a spike and
Multiple spikes. 3 spikes, basically.
Yeah. Which you can survive.
Yeah. But I was like, yeah. And then it was some other things, but
Yeah, like now you're scared of like sharp objects.
Yeah.
But you didn't really take much damage.
Yeah, and I was trying to decide, you know what, fuck it, let's do this. So I just throw the die, and I got a 10.
Now 10 is fucked up.
But great.
You take a spike to the mouth, like you're falling, and it spike right in the mouth. Now imagine a spike trap and taking a spike to the mouth.
Yep.
But your survivor clenches your teeth onto the spike so it doesn't rip your head off.
But it does destroy your jaw.
Yes, you suffer shattered jaw, which means you can't like talk anymore, or your character in game can't talk anymore.
Yeah.
Or he's just gibberish and can't like consume items and stuff like that. But he comes out so resolved at surviving or whatever.
Yeah. There's like unwavering will or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
he's I was gonna look it up. What's the name of your character?
That was Alex Guy.
Alex Guy. Was it Eternal Will?
Eternal Will.
Eternal Will, +1 accuracy and +1 strength for each permanent injury that you have.
So usually permanent injuries are debilitating.
Yes.
But this guy, I get accuracy and strength from it.
Yes. Too bad you don't actually have any debilitating injuries yet. But I guess you have shattered jaw. We'll come to the dismembered arm later.
Yes.
But he can always depart even when he's retired. So normally you can only do, was it 15 hunts?
Yeah.
And then 16
at
you
16
retire.
you retire, yes.
But he can never retire. He is never retired.
Even when you are retired, you can still go. So
You can still
do
go.
a retire thing, and then you're like an crippled old man
Yep.
full of bodily holes and things like that. And you're
Yeah.
like, I could do it, I promise.
Yep. Then I think he ripped your arm off later.
No, that was
later.
on.
Later?
That
Okay.
was later.
So then we doubled down on really killing this guy fast.
Yes.
We took a couple stakes, which he just like stabs and just like disintegrates the
Yeah.
armor somewhere on you.
Well, and what's great too is that around this time I also got narcissistic as a disorder, which is you can't wear a helmet at all.
Because everyone needs to see your face.
And they're seeing my bloodied face with my tongue just flopping around.
Yeah, it's real fucked up. So after we fought the Manhunter, we then we unlocked the Flower Knight, and so we decided to go hunt the Flower Knight, which has an interesting hunt. There's normally a space called Overwhelming Darkness in the middle of the hunt that's crazy shit happens. But he actually replaces that with like a flower gate, and then he's beyond the flower gate, and he has his own special hunt events that are unique just to him, which was super interesting.
Yeah.
And then his board is super interesting. He's got a fairy ring sort of thing that there's this big 4-piece tile set that goes down on the center, and he has a bunch of buffs based on how many enemies are in there. And if no one's in there, he'll like suck someone up with a flower and like dump them next to him. But he gives everyone luck all the time. Luck is crit.
Okay.
So he's giving people constantly +1 crit, +1 crit, +1 crit. I think I had like 2 or 3 +1 crit bonuses on him. And then he adds a couple other little mechanics like a parry, which if you have to crit to be able to do anything on the parry location.
Yes.
But he's giving you all these luck tokens to actually get a better bonus on crit.
Exactly. And then eventually, if you are able to crit him with a parry, during a parry, then you can actually gain fencing. Like if you have to roll on a chart, but if you do well, you get fencing, which negates parry. And also, it will negate, like when somebody hits you, you can roll a die, and on a 6+, you can just ignore one of the hits.
Yeah, which is super nice.
Super nice.
Yeah.
So my character got that as well, and I was like,
Yeah,
this is great.
Can't wear a helmet anymore.
Can't wear a helmet, but you know what? Like,
You still have 4 armor there.
Exactly.
Anyways.
So it was like, whatever. I'm okay with this.
Of course you do. So we did that. Then we came back and we got Rivalry as our settlement event. That's where we take 2 random survivors that are coming back, and then they fight each other. And they can easily kill each other, but thankfully, Paul only gave me a gaping chest wound, which I think he already had a gaping chest wound from a previous rivalry that he then killed me in that one, in a different character. Then we rolled off on the rivalry during the settlement phase because we can either kill each other or it just goes away. But then we rolled really well, and then we got married.
You just became partners.
We became partners, which is basically marriage in Kingdom Death.
After you fought each other.
Yes.
It was just
there's
like
a begrudging respect, and it's like, well, I guess I'm spending my life with you now.
Compare and contrast our gaping chest wounds.
Exactly.
It's like one of those like intense fight scenes where like at the end of it you just end up like making out.
Oh yeah.
Every anime.
Yes. Yeah.
But we unlocked a new innovation with that. Our innovation deck is so thick with just stuff from all of these crazy expansions that we're not getting the actual innovations that we want. Like, it took us forever to get ammonia, which is like basic, like easy one that you need for like higher level like gear crafting and stuff.
Yeah.
And we just can't get the innovations we need. Like Symposium that lets you draw 4 and choose 1. We really need that so we can kind of thin out some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we want to get Song of the Brave so the Gorm climate can go away because that has a chance to destroy an innovation or all of our resources every time we come back from a hunt.
Well, and what's annoying is that we haven't fought the Gorm at all, so it's like, why are we even using the Gorm expansion?
Yeah, just to fuck over the Gorm climate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we unlock the Lion Knight and then another like Flower Knight event, which lets us like innovate Flower Knight stuff.
Yeah, which we made the very OP bow.
He's got a really, really, really good bow that Thursby now uses and destroys everyone with.
Yes.
So much so that you said you've seen people say that you can't even get that until you fight a Flower Knight level 2.
That's what Paul said, yeah.
Paul said that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we got the Lion Knight, who is sort of a weird, like, theatrical show that shows up in the middle of our settlement.
Mm-hmm.
He just stands there, and we could, like, worship him or something.
Yeah.
But then he's got, like, a caravan that we can go visit that does a bunch of weird stuff. But it's how we get the hybrid sets that are really powerful. The hybrid sets can give you, like, special bonuses to Monster Claw or axes or, like, whatever the dancing thing is.
So, different things, but it's just a variety of gear. It's like Phoenix gear and Lion gear and some other things that you sort of combine together, and then you have, and like some of them are weak, but the overall, like, it turns all of your armor into like 4+.
Yeah.
So
even though it would be like a 2, it would be a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Then we fought a Screaming Antelope level 2 because we needed resources.
Mm-hmm.
I think it basically killed one of my characters by, it gave them a disorder. Its giant mouth on its underside, it screamed and ran, and then I took some brain injury, mostly because Zach's stupid setup.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's
because we got the tactics cards.
We got to choose to go first, and he set us up so everyone was adjacent to him, and then we immediately drew a back kick or the trap or something like that.
It was the trap, yeah.
And so everyone took like 4 brain damage.
That's not my fault. That's Paul's fault for shuffling shitty. All right?
Yeah, fuck you, Paul.
Yeah, we had, because beating the Flower Knight got us access to tactics cards that are like, hey, you can do this cool, you can do these sometimes cool things, sometimes shitty things.
Yeah.
And this one was like once per showdown, so we could only use it once. And it was...
like you go around and everyone can hit it.
No, it's like one person can hit it without causing, like, while canceling every single reaction on the cards.
Yeah.
And so Paul ended up doing that because he had that stupid fucking ability that means he always has to go first, which is really annoying.
Prima Donna.
Yeah, Prima Donna.
Yeah.
Which sounds like...
that's a very fitting one for Paul.
And so...
And it fucked him a couple times.
Yeah, Paul went, and then I went, and then that's what caused the trap.
Yep. And so we lost all of our insanity, and then I got a arithmophobia or something like that. When I gain the disorder, I roll a d10.
You roll a d5.
I roll a d5. And that is now your movement value. And I rolled a 2.
Yeah.
So my character's movement value is now 2 from 5.
Yep. And
that sucks.
Because they're obsessed with counting, so they can only go 1, 2. 1, 2.
Don't know how to feel about your only ability to be count to 2.
Yeah. Well, that's because we don't have very many innovations. So
that's very true.
Yeah. So we killed an antelope, came back, got the phoenix, which is a normal standard thing, fought another antelope. I kept whiffing or sucking or something with my character would go wrong.
Well, what happened through this entire thing is you would, like, because you've been trying to get axe specialization.
Yep.
You would hit it or not hit it.
I would get to 2.
You'd get to 2, and then that character would be either dead or
debilitated,
or you would miss on your hits to actually kill it.
Yeah.
So while Paul and I we were able to get mastery on Qatar
in this period
on Qatar and sword, you had 2 at the most for
2
Axe.
at the most on Axe, yeah. Because I would take out maybe like a new person,
Yep.
and that they have to be at least XP level 2 to even take any mastery.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we can't. There's no like shared knowledge in this campaign. You can't spend endeavors to like rank up people with like more experienced people,
Yeah.
as far as we've been able to find.
Because that was on the
Lantern
Lantern
Horde.
Horde.
Yeah. Which is
we do-
now the
throne.
So it's harder to get people weapon specialization until we get that other thing that's real good.
The bloodlines, yeah.
Yeah. So then 2 antelopes. Then we came back for yet another round of a holy shit amount of things. We got the Dragon King glowing crater event. I think that's the one that actually lets us hunt the big monster version of him.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Dung Beetle Knight and the Sunstalker, which is a crazy penis monster.
More or less, yes.
Yeah. More penisy than others.
Yes.
And then we did the actual Lion Knight encounter,
Mm-hmm.
which everyone gets a
roll.
A roll, like the villain, the jester,
Or it's the villain, the fool, the ruler, and the
princess,
damsel, which that's the only one I didn't get.
Yeah. And these all do crazy things. Like every time you get the fool, all of your waist armor goes away. It just goes to 0.
Yep.
Because he doesn't have pants on or something. Like, and then whoever's the villain, the Lion Knight's trying to recreate some sort of story. So he always is going after the villain.
And if the villain dies, then you lose.
Yes. So you have to keep the villain alive. Also, the villain is always doomed, so they can't use survival to dodge or dash or surge to attack again.
Yeah.
Or anything. But we fucking smoked him. Like level 1 Lion Knight is still like toughness 10, which is generally a level 2 monster.
Mm-hmm. But the problem is like we are so many of our guys have so much strength that every time we would hit, it would just be like, all right, now it's a 2+ to wound, 2+ to wound.
Yeah, we're running off the 2+2+ again already.
Well, my character with the guitars had 7 strength.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
And you have what, 5 attacks? 6 attacks?
It's 4 dice.
4 dice.
And they were hitting because I had the accuracy. I was getting hits on 6 or 5+.
Yeah.
And then to attempt a wound, it was just 2+ on each of those.
Yeah.
And also, I forget to mention throughout this entire thing, I had those, but we also, in an attempt for me to get the red affinity, I had bone darts.
Yeah, everyone had bone darts. Bone darts are one of the worst weapons in the game, but they are ranged and one of the easiest things to make that are ranged, which ranged is very critical for a lot of hunts.
Yeah. And they are shit unless you are my character who was just crit after crit after crit. And one of the abilities I ended up getting was Fated Blow, which is you choose 1 attack per showdown and it gets +2 strength and it does Devastating 1, which is basically you do an additional wound. And I killed at least 2 things by just throwing a
bone dart
and doing 2 wounds to kill it.
Everyone knows in all sort of fantasy weapon games, darts are the worst thing imaginable.
Yes, but that 7 strength, I was just chucking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had the Lion Knight.
Who cut your arm off?
Oh, by beating the lion. So a lot of the guys that we fought had whoever had the killing blow.
That happened a lot,
happened,
actually.
Yes. So it was the Tyrant, and
Flower Knight?
And the Flower Knight, which got me the Flower Knight badge, which got me an evasion token, and which gave me access to the tactics cards.
Yes.
And then so there was one on the Lion Knight. Hey, whoever did the killing blow, these women that were following the Lion Knight come up behind you.
It's all like the stage hands.
Yeah, it's stage hands. They come up behind you and you have to roll on it. And like if you roll badly, it's like, oh, they just cut your head off and you die.
Yeah.
But they had like this giant
tome
thing. No, well, it was like a giant pot basically that they put my arm in and then just cut my arm off.
What the
fuck? And so now my character got an additional accuracy and an additional strength for having the cut off arm.
Yes.
But I can only use 1 guitar instead of the other one.
That moves us on to our final year where we fought the Tyrant level 2. We did a triathlon of death during this one. We just chose like 4 random people. We actually ended up getting like a really nice lady that.
So we had it was for the dragon. When the Dragon King came down into the crater, we sent a nobody to go explore. and basically they got the acid palms ability,
Yeah.
which is you get plus D10 when you're doing fist and claw.
For your strength to
Or
wound.
fist and tooth.
Yeah,
Yes.
fist and tooth.
Which is you really need because it's
Yeah.
just you're punching. And so we're like, sweet, we have a
Fist and tooth person.
exactly.
And then we put her in the triathlon of death. I think she did pretty well.
Yeah.
Someone didn't do so well in there, I think. I don't remember what happened. Someone rolled bad.
Yeah.
Because you can die on one
Well,
of them.
if you get fourth on all of them, you
just
get run
dead.
out and you get run out of the settlement and you're considered dead.
Yeah. There's 4 different events. There's 3 different events.
Triathlon.
Triathlon, yes. But there's 4 of you doing the triathlon.
Correct.
And it all went pretty well. Paul kept getting he got the first place on the last one.
Yeah.
And that was get some weapon proficiency.
2 weapon proficiencies.
But she was 1 XP, so she couldn't get weapon proficiency, so she just didn't get them.
Yeah.
At getting first place. And second place got strength, because of course.
Yep.
Then we fought the Tyrant level 2, annihilated him, and that was that.
Yeah, we got a spear, and then beating him let Paul and I get the mastery for the weapons.
Yes.
Which unlocked constellations for us.
Yes. Constellations are kind of what everyone's aiming at. It's this grid of 4x4.
Yeah.
And it's all of the different, having 9+ courage, 9+ understanding, 3+ strength, having certain fighting arts. It's this whole grid. And you guys finally completed a
Yes.
row or column.
Yes. Which mine, I was able to complete 2 at the same time. So let me choose between 2. Paul ended up getting the Storm, which was an extra speed, and then some other things. I forget what it was. But then my character got the Storm or the Sculptor.
The Sculptor is what you chose.
Yes. So the Sculptor is basically you find in one of the various stone faces around, you find someone that looks just like you. So you grab it, you pull it out, you pull the face out, and you get to make a copy of yourself.
Literally copies his character sheet down, and now there's 2 of him.
And this is my character that's one-armed, that has all those, that has a crazy amount, and can go forever because of that will thing, the eternal will.
Yep.
And I also gained the ability of Limb Maker, where I can make prosthetic limbs. So
he can get rid of dismembered arm.
Dismembered arms or dismembered legs. I can just make a new one.
Yep.
So I'd be like, oh, fucking sweet. This is great.
Yeah.
And that's where we ended off. But this campaign is all about making people of the stars. So once you get a constellation, you become a people of the stars. So what we need to do is continue to diversify. So as much as I would like to continue playing those guys, unless we really need it, I should probably go to someone new to make them super powerful.
I mean, you saw how well it worked for me.
Yeah, but it would be me doing it, not you.
Yeah.
So.
It's all the difference in the world.
Correct. But hey, I think it's just great that we were able to. So now we have 3 people as stars already, which is great.
Yeah, because you had made a copy of yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how the Kingdom Death is going, and that's year 9.
Yes. I did want to say one thing. It doesn't involve our Kingdom Death, but on Reddit we saw a really cool post about he called it Kingdom Sketch, in which his friend was drawing their campaign as they were playing, and it's a really cool link. I'm gonna link it on here. But I really liked it that we got to mention.
You were the top comment of us talking about Kingdom Death was on that thread.
Cool.
Yeah.
That we were the reason they started getting interested in thinking about this game.
Yeah.
So
and someone even bought it off of our chit chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was that's a cool. You should really check out one there, the characters they're playing with are Dilbert, Daria,
Hank Hill,
Dr. Zoidberg, and so.
But all the sketches are as brutal as Kingdom Death are. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was an enjoyable tale.
Yes, it was.
But we won't be playing Kingdom Death for at least a month.
Yes,
until after Gen Con.
Correct. That's why we got a super long
Yep.
edition now. So
right on. Well, that wraps that up. Jeff, is there going to be a Bloody Minute this week?
Sure is. I played a postseason game with the wonderful Thursby, who we play Kingdom Death with. He was on the fence of bringing back his halflings, and I guess he has decided to bring them back. So we played a postseason match. Our postseason match was pretty average. He got some induced players. He got Deep Root, so he had a 3rd tree man, and then a strength 3 halfling puggy, which he had never used before, nor had I seen before. And that was his like 440K of inducements against my team. Pretty average game overall. Downside is I was smashing the shit out of those halflings all fucking game, and I only got 2 casualties the whole game, which is total horseshit.
Yeah, it is.
For being strength 2, armor 6, armor whatever that I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, strength 2, armor 6, and like I got his star player out and one other halfling from a Crocs hit on the first turn. The Crocs continued to smash the shit out of the halflings for the rest of the game. Got no more casualties. He only needed 1 more casualty for a goddamn 3rd skill. And that's why I really wanted to play the halflings, just so I could get some casualties, which I got none of the whole game. I did KO Deeproot at one point, and that was great. Otherwise, the game went pretty well. Not a lot of star player points. Once again, only the 2 casualties, and ended up winning 2-0 against the halflings. He kept throwing his halflings at me to try and hit me with them, but they kept crashing and burning. He almost scored once, except he hit the tripwire. The tripwire is when you have to go for it, and you need a 2+, and you roll 1, and then you fall literally in the end zone with the ball. That was amazing, as is tradition. That happened. I ended up winning 2-0 with some skink scores. Finally got my second doubles on my team.
Oh, wow.
With a Snake Eyes skill roll on a skink. So probably getting block. So I'll have a blodge skink, which is nice. So pretty much all I can go down on is a skull or a pow. Or if someone has tackle.
Oh, yeah.
Which negates dodge.
Right.
And also, Thursby got on his plus Edge halfling a plus move. So he now has a move 6, Edge 4 halfling. So a real good like air guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he came out of it looking pretty good, but I still got the win. Still got the W. And I have way too much fucking money. I have like 430,000 gold, and my expensive mistake for the next game is going to be rough.
It's going to be expensive.
I need to roll like a 5 or a 6 to not lose any money. And if I roll like a 1, I lose like all of it except like D6.
Like 60,000 or
yeah,
something
like
that? Okay.
1 to 10 to 60,000.
Christ.
Yeah. Hoarding a lot. Back in the day, you used to be able to just hoard money, and there was really no penalty. Or very light with like spiraling expenses or something like that. And that was only if your like team value was over a certain cost.
Oh, okay.
And so this edition has definitely fixed that problem where you can just sort of hoard as much money as you want to be like, I don't care, my whole team died, I'll just buy a new team.
Okay.
Or just, I mean, at that point you'd roll a new team, but
right.
So yeah, got a postseason game in. Still need 2 more. Finals are getting scheduled right now. It's going to be Nurgle beat out the Khemri. So it'll be Phil's like, I don't know, millionth straight championship finals round.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then other Jeff in our league with his, I think it's 6s and 7s or of Faith and Dark Elf Glory and Power or something like that. One of the Dark Elf teams that I played against this season is in the finals as well, and his name is Jeff. So it's going to be Dark Elves on Nurgle.
Which I know when David did Nurgle, it was like, it has to be like the 3rd season before it's competitive. And so the fact that Phil can do it on his 2nd is crazy.
He almost didn't make it.
And then he did.
And then I lost.
Yeah, you lost.
1-0.
Womp womp.
Yeah, Phil ended up winning in overtime on the playoffs.
Right.
So we'll see how the championship goes.
Indeed we will.
That moves us on to news, because
that's everything for what we've been doing.
Yes.
And banter and all of that.
Yes. First up in news this week, I think we've talked about this in passing in the past, but they're making a Ticket to Ride TV show.
I don't think we've talked about this one.
We've talked about how Asmodee has been wanting to move, or they were going to move into media, like television and stuff like that.
And we talked about, like, because one of them they'd mentioned was a Catan movie or something. And we were like, what the fuck? And then this just got announced.
That they're going to be doing a Ticket to Ride style, but I think it's like a reality show or something like that. which I don't
Yeah.
I don't know what this means.
Neither do I.
So from what I was reading on the little article that we'll include here there in the show notes on BGG there, it seems like it's going to be an amazing race style game where it's people trying to travel around the country and complete challenges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it says the television adaptation will be a winner-take-all travel competition series in which 5 teams take the journey of a lifetime as they seek to complete epic challenges and rack up the most miles by air, land, and sea.
That just seems. I mean, I don't understand what that really has to do with.
Ticket to Ride?
Yeah, I mean, if they were only on trains or something, sure. Like the fact that it's land and sea. Unless those are land train, there's already land trains, sea trains, and air trains, then I feel like I'm not as interested.
Let's say.
Well, I wasn't really interested anyway.
What if it's a train on Mars
okay
to like a moon?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Rails to space.
Rails to space. Yeah.
I really appreciate this comment on that BGG thread. I'm picturing the teams in the studio drawing random tickets until they decide they have enough and then running out to a waiting taxi, spending 3 yellows to get to the train station. So, it seems like a really weird IP to want to slap on some kind of media.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing, supposedly, using Propagate, sorry. But yeah, Ticket to Ride TV series. Shitty reality. Because that's what the world needs, is more shitty reality.
Speaking of weird reality things, I was in the doctor's office, and it was this, like, they had the cooking channel on, because of course they fucking did.
Yeah.
But I looked up, and I was like, Oswego, Illinois? Prairie Fest? What? Why is this TV show at my hometown? And I was just, like, really confused. And there was some show for, like, Carnival Eats that was at, like, our Father's Day, like, Prairie Fest carnival thing on TV. And I was like... Weird. I was just watching, because I don't have TV, so it's not like I'd be watching the cooking channel, but apparently the show was in my hometown.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see anybody you recognized?
No, I probably wouldn't recognize anyone anyways.
I know.
When I grew up, that town was 3,000 people. It's over 30,000 now.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Anyway, continuing on news.
Next up in news, Renegade is bringing out Clipcut Parks, which is like a roll and write with scissors. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is apparently correct. What do they call it? They have the world's first roll and cut. So there's not a lot of information even on Renegade's actual page for it, where you can make pre-orders, about how you actually play. All they say is, with a pair of scissors and a plan, use your snipping talents to clip a park full of dazzling multicolored features. The first player to complete 5 park cards is the winner.
This better include scissors is all I'm saying.
So contents: 4 scissors, 1 pad of park paper, which is 100 sheets, 30 park cards, 12 grand park cards, 1 die, 10 wildlife/recycling tokens, and 8 gardener tokens.
And as a left-handed person, I better be able to use them with my left hand, or I also will be annoyed.
They seem to be
The little
ambidextrous scissors.
They seem to be the absolute worst scissors you can use.
Yes. Very, very kindergarten level
safety
scissors.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can always get your own.
This sounds to me like somebody saw.
That's like saying I could get my own pens for a roll and write. Jesus Christ.
This whole entire game sounds to me like somebody was sitting around and going, "Damn, we had this idea that people would like these roll and writes and they'd buy new pads from us and it'd be an ongoing revenue, but everyone just keeps laminating them. How can we keep people from just laminating their roll and write sheets? Oh, I know. Let's make a game where they cut them into pieces." It's just, I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
The box art is horrifying because it's giant, like, just, I don't know, maybe sentient scissors.
I think I've had this nightmare before. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
it's not a garden, it's a park.
A park. I mean, yeah. It's
giant, and we're talking like 20-foot scissors.
Yeah. And people are just sitting there like, no big deal, as these scissors shear this park into sections. Like,
golf is easy now. Golf is hard again.
But yeah, $25 coming in October if you're interested in the world's first roll and cut. That's the game type. World's first roll and cut.
We'll have to wait and see.
Indeed.
Speaking of waiting and seeing, Gale Force 9 has finally released / revealed the Dune board game details.
Yes.
Specifically when it's coming out.
Yep. So release date officially August 24th. And it's going to be an updated version of the old 1979 version that's been out of print probably since, I don't know, 1982.
Probably.
It's going to include a game board, 5-player shields, 5-player aids, 30-liter discs, tokens, player markers for each faction, 156 spice tokens, 2 battle wheels, and 166 cards, and a basic version, like a basic quick start rules, and then advanced rules, and an entire synopsis of Frank Herbert's Dune.
Boy,
I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can get it to, in like a paragraph or two. That'll get the gist of everything that's going on.
spice must flow.
Done.
The end.
Yeah.
It also says here, Dune is intended to play 2 to 6 players and takes at least 2 hours. So,
An hour per player is what I would imagine.
Yeah.
probably.
They have a picture of what it all
A lot
looks
of the
like,
components and
it
things.
looks pretty good. I like the board.
Yeah. And only $50 for what sounds like it might actually be kind of a bigger game.
And it'll be August 24th.
Yeah.
I bet this will be at Gen Con.
At least a couple of them.
Yep. Unless it's like hot off the boat like August 24th, which has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it for news this week.
Indeed. Moving right along. On to some Kickstarters.
Our first Kickstarter this week is On the Underground, London / Berlin. This one is very well funded, $41,000 of its $12,000 goal, 980 backers, and just over a week left to go. And you can pledge this one for $49.
Yeah, so this is a remake of a much older game, also long out of print, similar to Dune, called just On the Underground, that took place in London. And the new edition, in addition to featuring all kinds of new art and graphic design, also will include a Berlin map. So in On the Underground, you're going to be competing to build a transportation network in either London or Berlin, depending on which map you use. And each player is going to control 2 to 4 lines, depending on how many people are playing. At the beginning of each turn, 4 destination cards are going to be turned face up, and players take 4 actions, and then the passengers move along the road. After a player takes their turn, the passengers move, and so they move along built lines and avoid empty track spaces, trying to get to 1 or 2 of those destination cards. The cards that correspond to stations they make it to are replaced by new cards, and then it goes to the next player. You score points by building track and connecting their lines to various types of stations, by having the passenger use their lines when they move, and by having the passenger use their lines when moving. It's over after all the destination cards have been drawn and all players have taken the same number of turns. And then whoever has the most points wins. So, fairly simple rule set, but from everything I've seen and kind of heard about this game, like there's a lot of strategic depth in like where you're going to be placing your lines and trying to, depending on what cards come out and where the passenger is, trying to entice him to use your lines to move around.
I like the color in this. I
Yes.
saw a little bit of the previous game, and this board, like the board and the cards and the art, especially like the box art, looks really good. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of that. It's like, it's London, but like with a spray paint sort of color
Yes.
pattern that looks really cool. The things I don't like though are so the deluxe edition, instead of like regular tokens or different like tiles, you're using like bigger like wooden tokens.
Yes.
And for passengers, you have little wooden meeple sort of things. But they actually look more like people. Some of them look good, but I don't like how some of them look.
Okay.
Like there's someone on a wheelchair, there's a pregnant woman, and then an old man. Those look fine, but I don't like the regular dude, how he is just sort of like mid stride and walking. I don't know why, but it rubs me the wrong way.
Okay. Is that yeah, no, I'm looking at the same photos you are. See, I think the only one that really stands out to me as being weird is the pregnant woman. It's hard to tell that it's, I mean, I guess you could say it's just a fat dude as well. Like it seems like an amorphous blob, and the wheelchair person looks like they was heavily inspired by the wheelchair symbol in like a handicap parking spot. It doesn't look very much like a real person in a wheelchair.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I think the regular walking guy, standing girl, and old person all look fine. But
That's where we differ.
apparently.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit curious about the deluxe transparent passenger token too. Like, I feel like that might impact playing?
So I like here, it says, we decided early on to include more than one passenger shape options, and thus 5. 3 of them, the wheelchair user, the elderly, and the pregnant, were kindly provided by Ian O'Toole and Albion Viard.
Yes.
Those are the 3 that I like. The 2 I don't like weren't provided by them. Because the woman, it looks like she's standing, but at a very awkward angle. Especially, the guy looks weird in mid-stride for me.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. So, I don't know. I think it looks pretty good.
Everything else, I think it looks really good.
Yeah, I think this is definitely kind of the route building logistics game that I would like.
It does say it only plays in an hour, though, so that maybe, like, I would try this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also, it's all on one map. You're not all building your own underground map on the side. So, but yeah, I'm a real big fan of the artwork on here.
Yeah, that's on the Underground, London/Berlin. Go check it out.
Next up on Kickstarters is Board Game Bag and Calendar.
There's no question mark in that. That's Jeff adding his editorial to that.
Yes. Very well funded. 117,000. It's my own script. I can do what the fuck I want. $117,000 of its $1,000 goal. 2,300 backers and a little over 2 weeks left to go. The most popular pledge for this being $44.
It's not the $500 one.
Not the most popular.
The 12th pack of bags.
So this is from the BoardGameTables.com people, and this is their latest round of board game bags. So they've done these previously, and we actually have like 3 or 4 people who have them in our game night group. But they've made some improvements.
2.0.
Yeah. So previously they were vertical, and now they've made them more like horizontal, like a duffel bag, while still having good thick shape. They apparently also got a lot of feedback about seams tearing and issues like that when people loaded up their bags with heavy games, weight, not complexity. And so they've super reinforced the stitching, and they've made sure to have really good padding on all the sides to protect your games, and have multiple ways to carry it, all kind of baked in. This one looks more interesting to me. I did not like the first one. I was like, I would rather carry my bags in one of my mini CSI bags from Gen Con than have this big awkward rectangle, but now that they have it more like an actual duffel bag, that corresponds more to how I like to carry my games.
And honestly, I feel like a lot of the board game bags I've seen, they're like $100.
Oh yeah, they're so expensive.
And so the fact that this one is like, the base bag is $30.
Yeah.
Is like, that's bag price, not luxury bag price.
Right?
Luggage. Yeah. I've gotten cheaper luggage than that.
That's true.
You just go to a Goodwill and you can find luggage, man.
It's amazing how much shitty luggage is at Goodwill.
But you can buy some really cheap stuff that is, if you don't mind a scuff or a broken side or two, it's cheap.
Great. Yeah. Luggage tips from Zach.
Yeah.
But yeah,
duct tape fixes a lot of things.
This is very true. But so the bag I'm excited for, I think I might jump in on that $44 one, especially because it comes in the heathered blue, which our Mile High Game Guy shirts are also heathered blue. It's a color I'm a fan of. Then moving on to the calendar. The calendar's interesting.
It's a weekly calendar.
It's a weekly calendar, including weekly prompts, like this week, play a game without talking. This week, play the game you have owned the longest. This week, play a game that has no luck. Yeah, I can get behind that one.
I mean, as long as we can also get the one where you play games without talking. That would be...
We'll play the mind. It'll be great. Things like that. And then they have stretch goals to fill in your gamer profile, include a full year section and a section of a 10x10 or a weekly trackers, habit trackers, things like that. Which if they get all of that, that actually sounds kind of cool. But yeah, includes a lot of cool board game photo art.
Yeah. I think you forgot to, the calendars definitely, like I've seen various calendar things on here, and these do look pretty good. But I also wanted to mention for the bag, the Heather bag is a like heavier or more heavy duty one too. So
yeah, it carries 65 pounds versus 50 pounds for the Oxford Gray.
And only $4 shipping for the U.S.
Yeah.
At most $12 shipping for the Europe. And $29 if you live not in Europe, Canada, the EU, or the United States. That's pretty expensive shipping.
You're not wrong there. But you also only pay shipping on your first bag, so maybe just get a bunch of bags.
Yeah.
Just go in on that 12-pack. You're like, all right, I'm already spending $29 on shipping, so I might as well spend $500 on bags.
Who needs shelves? I can keep all my games in these bags.
Exactly. That way, if the worst happens and it's like, oh no, my house is about to burn down or explode, you can just grab those bags and go, and you're good.
Just start whipping them out the front door.
There you go. Perfect.
So board game bag and calendar.
Indeed.
Last up on Kickstarters this week is Die Macher Limited Edition. Very well funded, $110,000 of its $20,000 goal. Over 1,600 backers and just about a week left to go. Its most popular pledge being $69.
Also the only pledge. Yeah. So last on our news and Kickstarters, first ever on BGG.
Yes, it is.
BGG item number 1, Die Macher.
But this looks a lot better than that did.
Yes, it does. So this is a new and updated version of Die Macher being put out by Spielworks. And basically, Die Macher is a game about the democratic process in Germany. And so players basically represent different political factions, and they vie for power in different regions of the country. You're in charge of the national parties, and you manage your resources, trying to help your party achieve victories in both local or regional elections and in national elections. So each regional election can get you victory points, depending on the size of the region and how well you do. Media influence in regions can get you victory points. And then national party membership also gives you a large number of victory points. And then finally, at the end, you get victory points based on how closely the party platform matches the national opinions of the people at the end of the game, which can be influenced by controlling the media. So it's one of the original like heavy Euro games of doing all this weird kind of abstract tugging of strings and achieving different goals in kind of a amorphous kind of gameplay situation.
Over like 4+ hours.
Yes. Yeah. I've definitely seen games of Die Macher at HeavyCon run for long periods of time. I have not personally had the chance to play it, though. I definitely want to, and I'm going to be getting this for so many reasons. I've wanted Die Macher for a long time. I'm super happy to support Spielworks. I think the new art and graphic design upgrades are fantastic, and it's BGG game number 1. Like, you gotta have that in your collection, right? Like, you just have to.
At least you don't have to pay like $200+ for an old like German first edition or something at this point.
Exactly.
Very true.
Exactly. So, yeah. This one also, just a heads up, will likely not see normal retail distribution. So if you want a copy, you need to get in on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, they said it's mainly going to be sold at conventions and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they're mostly fulfilling the Kickstarter and then a few extras for conventions. And then if they still have some like years down the road,
2021, it might go to regular retail.
Yeah, they might ship their, dozen copies they have left to some retail thing. I don't know.
Well, depends on how many copies they make, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll have new and updated rules as well as the original rules for purists. Because some people get real antsy about that kind of thing when it comes to heavy games.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I get antsy about that by Blood Bowl, so I can understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So new updated rules, but also old original rules.
Now, how old? Like 1986 rules, or?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Probably. I think there was a first and second edition of that version. It was probably, I would assume, the second edition rules.
Yeah, it was first released in 1986.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah.
And that's Die Macher.
Indeed it is.
And that's Kickstarters.
That's all of them. Moving on to listener feedback, we have no emails for this episode.
No. Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Also, no new BGG stuff. All the BGG things are for the Friday episode.
Everyone's giving us Friday feedback already.
I know. They're getting ahead of the game. However, we do have some YouTube stuff over on Paulo's Corner on YouTube. Starting with our Quest for El Dorado review, Paulo says, Quest for El Dorado is a very cool deck-building racing game, simple yet engaging, very accessible to people that are starting in the hobby, but still interesting enough for more experienced gamers. Recommend this one. Have to agree. That was basically how I felt about it.
Yep.
And then on episode 149, Immeasurable, M says, I like the addition of the tapes in the clip art. Well played. Do you ever change the dice numbers? Not currently?
No, not at the moment. Because we only have 2 dice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, as of whatever the llama episode was, Pack of Llamas, we had been wanting to add names to make it more than just the base logo.
Yeah.
And so
Make it more episode specific.
Yes, and so I started doing that. And while I was doing that one, as it is a lot of the cases when I'm editing the podcast, I'm like, I wish I could be doing something else while I'm editing. And so
Multitasking. Multitask editing works well, I'm sure.
I mean, basically my ears have been trained especially with the first episode, the Wednesday episodes. I'm really listening for errors more than
beyond what I've cut.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just I'll have that going and listening to it, and then I started just adding things to it. So I added a whole bunch of just llamas running around.
Yeah, pack of llamas.
The almost bloodless one, I had a little bit of blood on the dice. But I have to remember to hit I had to upload it with the specific size so it actually would update in iTunes. So then it would then travel to most of the other things.
Yeah.
And
you said it had a really weird specific thing it needed.
It was you had to have it pretty wide, but also not be big at all. It was 1400 by 1400, but it couldn't be bigger than 500 kilobytes or something like that.
Yeah. Here's a huge image that's tiny little file size.
Yeah. And then I also had to update. I have to remember to update the ID3 tags.
Yeah.
A couple times I'd ask Paul, I was like, Paul, did the image update for you? And he's just like, no. And I was like, damn it. I
all
forgot
that
to
work.
all that work. But no, I've been enjoying doing that so far.
We also have badge banners coming soon too.
Yes, we will.
You designed those.
Sure. Yeah. Well,
we'll call it that.
Yeah, we can
I
call
would call it that.
Yeah. Okay.
You put in all the effort of making that thing happen.
That's true. I did.
Yep.
So
I would say that's crafting.
yes.
All the effort of emailing somebody and be like, hey, do you have a file that has our name on it? Send it to me so I can slap it on a
That's
generator.
effort.
Yeah. I also spent a lot of time being like, I need to make sure this image is white. So when I upload it, it's going to be white on the badge, forgetting that they have here's the color that we're going to print it in as white. And I was like, as soon as I remembered that, I was just like, oh, so much wasted effort.
But yeah, that wraps up listener feedback. No more for this episode, so we can start to get on out of here. If you want to get a hold of us, there's plenty of ways to do so. You can leave us that feedback by sending us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can follow us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram, both of those /MileHighGameGuys, as well as our website, milehighgameguys.com, where episode posts include all kinds of links. Like the one Zach talked about putting in this one for the Kingdom Death drawings. There's also links over there to our BGG guild, guild number 2731, where you can participate in the weekly episode posts, either before or after, and we'll include your comments on the show. You can also find a link on that same website, episode posts, to our Slack channel, which is ever-growing, just constantly full of people, although it's always the same ones talking.
Well, and sometimes there's a bunch of white people doing rap battles.
/ giving limericks.
Yes.
Which, if that doesn't scream white people rap battle, I don't know what does.
Yeah.
Truly nothing. And lastly, there's a link on those episode posts on our website to our Patreon, patreon.com/milehighgameguys. If you wanted to support the show financially, much like W.S. Bryant, who has generously decided to throw us 5 bones over there on Patreon. So just enough to not get mocked by Jeff.
By $4.
More than enough.
5 times as much.
By pledge levels,
I
it's
guess.
it's the
$5
pledge
gets to respect.
It's
Yeah.
the pledge right above mocking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but thank you.
Yes.
Was
For-
$1 is mock. $2 to $4.99 is not mocked. 5 is you actually get respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, thank you for supporting the show like that. We do really appreciate it, Senor Bryant.
Don't like that.
I thought there was going to be respect at the $5 level.
Yeah.
He called me senor.
I don't know, because I feel weird just saying Bryant, like just like the last name, but like I don't know if he goes by WS or W. Thanks, W.
You're ruining the respect level. No one's going to give us $5 ever again.
You know. Or they will just make us have to go through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to watch what Adrian just digs himself further, and we're just getting hit with dirt over and over. It's just
See, that's what we need. And then we'll have to do something like at the $10 level where you do something ridiculous. So people decide what ridiculous reaction they went for from us based on how much money they throw at us. Dance, monkeys, dance.
I'll do a fair amount of dancing for money. Not well. I mean,
Not
it's
well.
still on 1.5 legs. So
But they can tell you're trying though, and you're putting in the effort.
You got to be to like 1 3/4
like
leg
high school
now.
gym class.
Exactly.
Effort.
Yeah.
That's all you really need.
Oh, geez.
Was that mostly square dancing for you?
That was like elementary school.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I lived in the South, so it definitely went past elementary school.
they did it till it got awkward.
Yeah. And then they kept doing it.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, the worst. I have fun historical facts about why square dancing is a thing in American schools, but we won't go on that tangent. It involves a lot of racism.
Oh, okay.
But we mostly won't go on it for length reasons. Thanks also to our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Their latest game, Run, Fight, or Die Reloaded, is shipping to its backers and is available for pre-order over on their website, grayfoxgames.com, if you want to get in on some fast-paced zombie killing / surviving action. I don't know. I really want to try this one. I hope you guys get to play it at Gen Con and come back with some positive feedback.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, do you have a prepared statement for us?
Of course I do. Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, genes exist to pass down our hopes and dreams for the future through our children. Living is a link for that future. That's how all life works. Loving each other, teaching each other. That's how we can change the world.
Oh, changing the world.
Genes, memes, and anime.
Yes. That wraps up the episode. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to listen in on Friday to our 3-year anniversary extravaganza, where we mostly sit around and stroke our own egos, / let some people stroke our egos
Via
remotely.
Google voicemails.
And emails and BGG and all kinds of things. So tune in. We'll talk about how the last year of podcastings went, the future of the show, things like that. Should be a fun time. We'll be full of all kinds of random nonsense. So check it out. Until that time, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm Ultrasonic Jeff.
Bye.
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 I saw you have a new chair outside. Looks good.
Oh, the toilet
Yeah.
out on the deck. Yeah, we're taking care of that tomorrow. It's on our huge list of we have to be responsible adults.
Punchboard Media,
where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.